I took a masterclass in stand-up comedy 2 years ago. I stumbled into my first open mic, and since then, I haven't been able to switch off my monkey brain at all when it comes to anything comedy related. And recently on stream, I found a video on the YouTube channel Vice. Do you remember Vice? This documentary deep dives into the New York comedy scene, and I think whether you're a comedian or not, we can all learn something about this art form. So open up your ears, get your notepads out, because there's definitely going to be a pop quiz at the end of this video. I saw this video that I thought would be really interesting to watch together, but inside the hustle of being a New York stand-up comedian. I feel like as a comedian, I could probably, one, learn a lot of things, and two, more importantly, I could probably reiterate some advice that they're giving out.
I got 2 new jokes I want to try. I'm gonna give you guys options. O.J. Simpson or Rosa Parks. All right, you guys want the Rosa Parks one? All right, here we go.
You know what's really funny about this intro is my friend, she puts on a show where the audience determines what jokes are being told. So you have to write 15 jokes and you label them 1 to 15, and then you tell the audience to yell out a number. Best part about this show is you can break up a joke into like 3 jokes. So if someone yells out a number, they get like the middle of the bit. So there's no context, and it makes it so much funnier. That's what this is reminding me of.
Being a New York City comic, it's super competitive. You work way more than everywhere else because there's so many stages and they're all close to each other. So it's real easy to get up a million times in a night.
This is facts. I remember when I went to Toronto to do a comedy fest there, and I was talking to comedians there. Toronto's the same as New York, where it's like you could do like 8 sets in one night if you want to, which is insane.
It's so funny that people think bombing is the hardest part about being a comedian. It's not. The hardest part is developing material over and over again.
I would say that is 100% facts. Like, I can deal with bombing. Like, once you've bombed like once as a comedian, you're chilling. Okay, it's kind of like you understand what it's like. Bro, I've done open mics where you are forced to bomb because there's no one in the crowd but comedians. You get used to that real quick, but the biggest problem is trying to come up with new material, especially if you're bombing time and time again. You're like, this isn't working, that's not working. But also, being a comedian, everything is like so subjective because you can do the same set every single night in a different room and you'll get a completely different reactions. Like, that's just part of being a comedian, you know? Like, I just did a set where I got arguably the biggest laugh that I've probably ever had since being a comedian. But I could do that set tomorrow night and it could be completely bombing, you know? Depends on the vibe of the night.
I care more about how do I fix that joke so moving forward it can work.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm going to push back just a little bit, where it's kind of like you're trying to make jokes that everyone's going to enjoy. That's never going to happen, okay? You probably better off just like making jokes that you know are funny and like get at least a few laughs and just rolling with that. I don't know. I'm pushing back just a tiny bit, okay? What do I know? I've only been a comedian for 2 years. This guy could have been a comedian for 10, all right? Maybe I should be taking notes here.
Because I don't have anything to do during the day, so I just fuck with the whites. You know? This is my new one I've been doing all summer. If I see a white person walking a little dog, I'll be like, hey, little nigga. It's very fun. They don't react poorly. They just speed up. Get the fuck out. I was doing it the other day. I woke up and I was like, time to call white dogs. Here we go. And it was going really well. Everybody was having...
Sorry, this is my friend Ishmael. My friend in the city that does comedy with me, Ishmael, this is like 90% of his material. He's black, just so you know, okay? If I came on here and said he's white, very problematic, but yes, no, this is him 100%.
And this little lady, she was walking her dog. It was towards the end of the day, the sun was going down. I was like, I better make this last one a good one. I gotta go stand up. You know? And she's walking her dog, and I was like, hey, little nigga. She was like, how do you know his name? I was like, it was my joke, bitch. I don't make this at all. You're oftentimes just like running around the city going from spot to spot every night. You don't get a night off for real. But who cares? You're only working at nighttime, you're telling jokes for a living. Who cares?
Yeah, that's 100% it. You know, I think a lot of people get like lost in the sauce with it. But when it comes down to it, like being a comedian, if you're doing it consistently enough and getting paid for it, like you really don't have any complaints. I feel like comedians have this thing where it's like they get in their head a lot of like, oh, is this joke landing? How do I make this better? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, bro, at the end of the day, 90% of people that are going to comedy shows is probably their first and only time they'll ever go to a comedy show. And they're there just for a laugh, okay? They've had a shit week at work or whatever is going on in their lives. They're just there to relax. I think we as comedians think of jokes way more than the audience does. Personally speaking, when it comes to comedy, there is like, obviously you have to work on your craft. You have to go up on stage a lot to work out jokes, because writing and rehearsing jokes and performing on stage are two different things completely. But something that I think people get stuck on when it's like the hamster wheel, quote hamster wheel, of doing stand-up comedy is that's all you're doing. All you're doing is just like open mic comedy, and you're not trying to do other things like this, like, you know, live streaming or creating clips or any of that stuff. But like a lot of comedians don't want to go to that extra effort. If you want to try to make it as a comedian in 2025 and all you're doing is just doing stand-up and you're not trying to do social media stuff, bro, you are going to take a billion years longer to try and get it anywhere. And social media is way more important than you could ever think of.
Usually, like me personally, I average out around 3 spots. Keep it going for your host, everybody. Keep it going for your host.
See, 3 spots a night, that's, I mean, well, it depends if you're doing it 7 days a week. If you're doing 3 spots a night from like a Thursday to a Sunday, I think that is good. But if you're just doing 3 spots a night and they're all open mics Monday to Friday, you gotta stop that.
I think the hardest joke to consistently get off is the meat of the Kamala bit, which is white women aren't gonna vote for her. Like, I have this theory that white women won't vote for her. It goes well sometimes. And then sometimes, boy, does it not. I am gonna vote. I'm gonna vote this year. It's my first time. This election is gonna be my first time ever voting. Yeah? You excited about it? Yeah? Cool. You guys clap, but you don't know me. Nigga, I could be voting for Kanye. You don't know how I'm living. No, I'm gonna vote for the other cam. I'm gonna vote for Kamala. I'm voting for Kamala. You guys seem very excited about that. It's okay, don't clap now. I don't know. I think white women think they're gonna vote for her. You know what I mean? Like, I think they are until it gets real. Does that make sense? Like, they'll call their black girlfriends, like, you have an ovary, I have an ovary, we're fucking voting. You know? Fuck Donald Trump, you know? Abortion rights, all that shit, you know? Then they're gonna walk to the booth with confidence, you know? Vote for Kamala, yeah. And then they're gonna get in that booth with all that privacy around them. Those walls are gonna get real tight. I'm thinking like, this bitch isn't Hillary. I'm just kidding. You didn't vote for Hillary either. Do better, white ladies. You said white men didn't vote for Hillary?
White men.
That's not true, miss. 40% of white women voted for Hillary. 60% voted for Donald Trump. Yes, that's a fact.
That's something that I find like difficult with comedy when you're trying, and like that's what I was scared about the bits I'm currently writing now. It's like it takes me a little bit just to get there, and it could be very polarizing for audiences. But there's nothing worse than someone in the audience pipes up. It's like, hey man, just shut up and let me get through this because I'm nervous as fuck right now. Because if you don't laugh at the punchline, this is all for nothing.
Sound like when you're talking shit about a demographic, and I think I fucked this up last night, is if you say you guys, you immediately bomb. You guys gotta do better. I don't believe in y'all. You didn't vote for Hillary either. You could be talking about the demographic in the crowd, but you have to talk about it like they're not them. Right. You know what I mean? And last night I fucked that up. It's just a slight switch of a word and it fucks everything up.
I kind of agree with that point. As like a comedian, you want to kind of try and like bring people into your world. So it's like you are indirectly talking about them, but I understand like with those bits, it's like I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about your demographic. It's, yeah. Sometimes it's hard, man. Sometimes like the people ain't just feeling it, you know? I've done comedy where like... I did like an open mic a few weeks ago and some dude was in the front row and he was just on his phone texting. I was like, what are we doing here? No one was getting laughs, and it was like a pro-am show, sorry. So it's like the first half of the show, there's like 5 or so comedians that are booked and then the rest are open micers. I was on the book booked slot. I was the last person on the booked slot, and I watched every comedian go up there and try to win the crowd over, and it was just not happening. So I just got up there, I did my bits, and I left. You know, I remember one time I bombed so hard. And this is like back when I was like starting comedy. I bombed so hard that I walked off stage halfway through my set. I walked off stage through the crowd and out the exit. I didn't say goodbye to anyone. I got into a car and I went home. And it'd be like that sometimes. It'd be like that.
At a comedy show, your guard's up. You're like, how are they gonna make me laugh? And that's where like the format comes in, where you have to like really manipulate their mind a little bit with the joke. A lot of the times you're relying on misdirection. You're relying on like taking them this way, going that way, involuntary responsive laughter, right? So I have the joke about Kamala, and I say like, I don't trust white women. I don't think white women are gonna vote for her. I see your white lady eyes in the crowd. You guys, we will. No, you won't. I'm talking shit about white women not voting for her, right? And that's like all the setup. And then I go, I tease white women a lot when I'm on stage. I do. You know the way Chappelle talks about trans people? That's how I talk about white women. I do. Yeah, this is my favorite topic. I tease white women a lot. But then the joke format comes in where I go like, I'll make a deal with you guys, all right? If Kamala becomes president, I will never make fun of white women again, ever, on stage. Seriously. And everybody claps. This is the misdirection building, right? Because everybody now is like, oh, he's just saying something sweet. He's getting off of us. This is a great way to end whatever he's talking about. We're gonna move on to the next thing. That's what they're thinking mentally. But I'm not thinking that at all. I'm like, wait, like I got some shit. And then I hit him with, so get ready for these jokes, bitches. Which is the misdirection. It's like, ah, fuck, he ain't let up yet. And every time that's gonna kill. Every time misdirection is gonna kill.
Yeah, this is a absolute masterclass when it comes to comedy, because this is what I'm doing right now, is doing misdirection. And I have like this bit in my set where things get really serious and things get really sad, and I try to break it up with like a little bit of jokes, but then I end up with like a really silly, goofy callback as like a misdirection, and it's like, that's what breaks it, and that's what everybody loves. This video, masterclass in stand-up comedy. Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
My favorite person to make laugh is my mom.
Wanna hold my hand?
Watch that one.
Pretend that I'm a, what do you call those people, younger people?
Cougar?
Yeah, pretend.
My favorite person to do that to is my wife. I know if I workshop a joke on my wife and she laughs, I know I got something. Because bro, anyone here in a long-term relationship gets it, all right? They're sick of our shit. But if you get one laugh in, you know that you've got it somewhere.
I got into stand-up because everyone told me to do stand-up. And eventually I listened. I had nothing else going for me. And I was like,
dude, I got into stand-up because I made my therapist laugh one time. That is a true story. I made my therapist laugh one time, and I was already in talks with like some comedians. I made my therapist laugh one time in a session, and I was like, shit, dude, maybe I've got something here.
I'm working towards putting out a first special that's a classic. I think that's always the goal. Like, I think about like Chris Rock, Bring the Pain. People still quote Bring the Pain. Sometimes I hear people quote Bring the Pain. They don't even know it came from Bring the Pain. It's just in the zeitgeist now.
Yeah, I've worked with a few comedians now on their specials, and that first special you do is arguably the most stressful thing that you would ever do as a comedian, because you're letting the world know, this is who I am, this is my comedy, this is like it kind of thing. And you got to make sure that that's got to work, because that sets you up basically for your whole career. Like, if you are going to make other people laugh, on like if you're going to have other specials in the future, that first special is what's going to determine if you're going to do it or not.
That's the ultimate dream as a comedian, is for your first special to be that impactful. When I get on stage, there's at least 3 jokes in each set that I'm like, okay, maybe this could be in the first hour. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, but it's
also something that people don't understand, like doing stand-up comedy, is like if you're doing like a longer set, you're not just doing jokes, you're trying to figure out a way for everything to connect and transitions and things like that. I was just listening to a podcast with Stavros on it, and he was saying that his biggest thing he thinks about with comedy is the transitions between the jokes, because they are arguably the most important thing. And I agree, like, and he was like, sometimes I think about it too much, and then I go, I could just go anyway and move on to the next one. But that's not how we think, you know. We take that shit so seriously. You don't understand the work that we're doing, all right? This is what you're learning from this stream.
I love the pressure of stand-up. I love it. It's such a challenge. I'm voting for her because she's a black lady. That's why I'm voting for her, okay? I'll be honest, dog. If Sexy Red was running, I'd vote for that bitch. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'd be like, oh shit, the president popping her pussy again. Turn on the TV. It'd be lit. It'd be lit. Every day, dog. Big Sexy. You know, and my friends are Trump supporters. My friends, like, super hood niggas too, and they love Trump. It doesn't matter, because they don't vote. But I love when these niggas go on rants, they're like, Trump, and I'm like, you're couch, nigga. You're not voting, shut up. They love Trump, but not enough to stand online.
My buddy Ishmael had this thing where he was like, always riding with Kanye. It took him so long to get off the Kanye train, but he would like do bits about it, about how he still rode with Kanye. And he was like, no, like it got to this point where he was just losing every single time when it came to that bit in his set. So he just ditched it, and he ditched Kanye altogether.
The hardest part about stand-up is doing stand-up when you're not happy. I'd rather do any other job, not happy. I'd rather work at McDonald's, not happy. And I've worked at McDonald's. You're making other people happy, and you have to put on, to some extent, some type of like mask.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like most of the time I'm kind of putting up a front a little bit just to like make people laugh. But on the flip side, even if I'm not happy and I do comedy and I get some laughs, that makes me happy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a catch-22 type situation, but I agree with that. I think you need to be in the right mindset to be able to make people laugh. You know?
And your life could be falling apart, which I've had a couple times, and doing stand-up while your life is falling apart, torture. And you can do it, and that's the most fucked up part about it, is a professional, you will get laughs. You will figure out a way, like, all right, time to lock in, time to fucking do it. But on the inside, it feels terrible while you're doing it. You gotta really love stand-up to commit to it in this city.
I think that's like a true thing that I always tell people like that are getting into comedy now. And again, I've only been doing this for like 2 years, but still when people are like, you know, well, what do you do? It's like, you gotta love doing stand-up to be able to do it, because it is the only payoff that you get is making people laugh. And if that's what you like the most, then you're gonna have a great time. That's what I think when it comes to comedy. If you love it when making people laugh and that makes you happy, comedy's 100% for you. But if you're in this for a Netflix special or, you know, money, fame, all that other stuff, that ain't gonna happen, okay? Do something else.
This is the city to fuck with people, for real. I know most of y'all probably don't live here. This is the city, for real. Because we deal with crazy shit. Like, you see crazy shit. Like I saw a homeless nigga ask another homeless nigga for $1. He came up to me and my boys first. He was like, hey, you got $1? And we hit him with the dance. We were like, and he was like, all right. And then he turned around and asked another homeless dude, and the other homeless dude got mad. He was like, why the fuck would I have $1? And I'm not gonna lie, I laughed so hard, I gave them both $1. Like, you guys fucking earn this money. This is quality entertainment.
See, you can make fun about like homeless people, maybe minorities, that kind of stuff, is if they're not the butt of the joke. See, like that delivery, again, this is a masterclass in comedy, because that delivery is a perfect example of I am not dunking on homeless people, you know? So all you anti-woke comedians, just stop, okay? You can make people laugh and not be an asshole.
I saw a homeless couple get into it once. It was different. We were stuck on the train in the station. You know, you get stuck on the train, the doors will stay open in the station. We were stuck, and this homeless chick in the corner broke silence with her man. She was like, I saw you looking at that bitch. And I was sitting there like, nobody wants your man. But I ain't say anything. It wasn't my place, you know? It got real intense. She's like, you know what? I'm sick of your shit. I'll leave right now. And that's when my heart got invested. Because I was like, yo, if she leaves, she's going forever. She doesn't have a cell phone. And she left, which was super fucked up. It was super sad. Nobody wanted to see her go. It was like a movie, like The Homeless Notebook or some shit. But right before the doors could close, the homeless dude sprinted for the doors. Yeah, I know, it was super cute. No, for real. We were all like... Get her.
See, like my comedy brain has seen bits like this and the constant like flopping between like, trying to be offensive towards them, but also making a joke about it and like all this kind of stuff. I'm like, bro, this is how you do comedy. This is the good shit, okay? Eat it up. Eat the slop up.
My most validating moment in stand-up is when Chris Rock told me, like, my stand-up, nothing tops it. Yeah, I was at the Cellar.
That's a huge cosign.
And I go to walk to the back corner where we were all sitting in the Village Underground. And he probably doesn't even remember this. And he was like, hey man, really funny stuff. Like, I really liked your stuff. It's really great. Some type of compliment. I kind of like blacked out a little bit. And I was like, oh, thank you so much, Mr. Rock. Like, very polite, And then I went outside and called my mom. I was like, you think you fucking like my stand-up? And
it's a huge cosign, 100%. It's like my friend Alistair at the moment. He's on a generational run. He's opened up for all these like big comedians at the moment. I'm like, damn, that must feel so validating.
Nothing tops it. I can do the Garden. I can have the classic specials. Like everybody can go, Eagle Wit's the greatest comedian ever. And I'll be like, it's not as good as that night that Chris Rock just liked my stand-up. That was it. I just got off stage. This nigga was like, you're funny. I was like, great, I'm made. I'm a made man.
You know what? I found something similar to this quite interesting to when I started doing comedy. And like people come up after my set and it would be like, oh, that was a nice set. Like every now and then someone would come up and say, hey, like good set, all that kind of good stuff. And I was talking to my friend about it in comedy. I was like, it's kind of cool when people come up in the audience and gas you up, obviously. And he was like, dude, the biggest compliment you can get is when a comedian says they like your set. Which was so true, but now it's like different levels to it, obviously.
Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Oh, that was great. That was good. That was honestly, that is a masterclass when it comes to stand-up, 100%. All right, Chad, I think that's basically everything I wanted to go through. Oh my God. All right, before I actually officially end this stream, I got a special Halloween surprise for you all. All right, welcome straight from the Louvre, my dog. Straight from the Louvre is Jules.
Cover his jewels.
cover his jewels. Yeah, indeed. Look at this. Hey, yeah, that's so funny. You did great.